Boxing Truth here. I wanted to talk about the Anthony Joshua situation. I'm seeing a lot of misinformation being thrown out there on the YouTube scene. All these casuals talking about stuff they don't know jack shit about because they don't understand the rules, making themselves look like idiots. Shit like saying Anthony Joshua is shook of Luis Ortiz. He's ducking Ortiz. Got nothing to do with that. Y'all just don't know shit about the sanctioning bodies. Y'all don't understand the rules. Learn the rules so you don't make yourself look like a fucking complete jackass while you go on the mic on the YouTube scene. It's pretty simple. Let me school y'all. Let me explain to y'all. Let Boxing Truth explain the rules to y'all. Anthony Joshua is not ducking Luis Ortiz. The issue is he has to fulfill the IBF mandatory obligation first. That was the mandatory that was ordered way before the WBA ordered a mandatory with Luis Ortiz. Joshua has to take care of his IBF obligation first, whether Pulev takes the fight or not. Now, the Kubrat Pulev situation, Pulev must be unaware of the rules. Many fighters are unaware of the rules, which is why they have a team, which is why they have a promoter and manager that does all the business for them, because they understand the rules. Eddie Hearn understands the rules. Boxing Truth understands the rules. And a lot of stuff that gets thrown out there, especially by boxing scene, it's just to create gossip, to confuse the fans that are not educated about the rules. Meanwhile, the promoter's laughing at your asses and you guys fighting with each other over the internet about who's going to fight who. When the promoters are aware of the rules and know what's going to happen first and foremost, but they'll announce it to you when you need to know. But Pulev, when he posted on his social media that he's not sure if he's going to take the fight, well, that's all up to him. But I'm pretty sure his team is going to inform him that he just can't drop out of the fight. He can't just turn the fight down and expect to get a title shot later. It's in the IBF rules. If you're not ready when called upon to do a mandatory, you will be considered unavailable, which is according to the IBF rules, which means you will get dropped in the ratings for at least 6 months because you were called upon and weren't available when called upon. So Pulev just can't drop out and expect to get a title shot. He will lose his mandatory status. So I'm pretty sure Cali Satterlin, his team, Pulev's team, are discussing to Pulev like, look, you need to take the fight now. You have 9 weeks until the fight date, which is October 28th. They're going to fight in Millennium Stadium. That's Joshua's next fight, regardless if Pulev takes the fight or not. So Pulev may be playing mind games, or maybe wants to get better terms or whatever, or maybe he's just unaware of the rules. And he's being reminded by his team that he needs to take the fight or he will lose the title shot. He won't get the title shot. And he'll be dropped from the ratings and lose his mandatory status. And when that happens, that doesn't mean Joshua is free of mandatory obligations. That means they will go down the list on who's ever available until someone takes the fight. Remember, Joshua has to fulfill his mandatory obligation with the IBF first. So they will go down the list. Now the problem is the fights are not that interesting. If Pulev turns down the fight, Carlos Takam will be called upon by the IBF. If he's not interested, if he's not available, then they keep going down the list. After that, they will call upon Christian Hammer, who is rated after Carlos Takam. If he doesn't want to take the fight, then they will keep going down. Vladimir Klitschko is retired, so they got to keep going down. And then the next available guy is Jarrell Miller. He will be called upon. That's how it works. Because the IBF are not taking any exemptions, it was made clear to them, to Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua's team, in writing, that if Klitschko wasn't going to take the rematch, you have to fight the IBF mandatory next. Now, when it comes to WBA mandatory, of course, Eddie Hearn is aware of the rules, and I'm pretty sure he requested for a special permit, which is the WBA's version of an exemption, which is the IBF. If you want to request of an exemption, that's for the IBF. For the WBA, you request a special permit to modify, extend the mandatory obligation. Now, Joshua is a super champion, which means the WBA, at his sole discretion, it's in the rules, can modify and extend the mandatory obligation. Also, he's a unified champion, and according to WBA rules, they will work with the other recognized sanctioning bodies in order to extend a mandatory, perhaps in their organization, in order to allow Joshua to make a mandatory defense with the organization that's first in line, which in this case is the IBF. The WBA works with you. And Eddie Hearn, I'm pretty sure, requested a special permit to extend that mandatory with the promise that they will fight Luis Ortiz next once they take care of the IBF mandatory. Now, either Luis Ortiz's manager, Jay Jimenez, I believe his name is not aware of the rules, because he's blowing a bunch of smoke, telling boxing scene that if Anthony Joshua doesn't agree by September 4th, he'll be stripped. No, that's not true, dog. If he doesn't agree on September 4th, they go to a purse bid, but that's not going to happen, because Eddie Hearn requested for a special permit, and according to the WBA's rules, because Joshua is a super champion and because he's a unified champion, he will get special permission to do the IBF mandatory first, with the promise that he fights Luis Ortiz next. So I don't know what the hell Luis Ortiz is waiting for. He's not going to get what he wishes. He's not going to just have the WBA give him a belt, because he will have to fight for it. He will have to fight for a vacant title if the WBA actually strips Joshua, which they won't, because it's in their rules. Luis Ortiz can't do shit about it, because it's in the WBA's rules. It's at their sole discretion and when they can extend a mandatory. The WBA's rules protect them. So Luis Ortiz can sue all if he wants, but he's going to lose, because the WBA has rules that protect them. He has to wait his turn. He has to wait in line. He might as well take the Wilder fight. He's getting offered a title shot. He may not be getting the type of money he wants, but he's not going to get the WBA to just to strip Joshua and then just give him the belt. It's not going to happen. So Ortiz has a choice to make. Either he waits for his shot at Joshua to take a stay busy fight, perhaps on the undercard of Joshua's next fight, or he can take the title shot next with Deontay Wilder, if Wilder is really trying to fight him. It's up to Ortiz. He's got a title shot waiting in the wings with Wilder. It won't be great money, but it'll be a title shot. Or he can wait for a bigger money fight and better terms at the negotiating table with Joshua, since he'll be next in line after the IBF mandatory. It's that simple, yeah. Just a bunch of gossip to get y'all to fight it with each other, and to say that Joshua's ducking Ortiz when he's not. He wants to fight his mandatories. He doesn't want to pay step aside money. He's willing to fight his mandatories, but he's gonna fight them in the order that's gonna be. That was ordered first, which is the IBF. They're up next, then the WBA is up next after that. And hey, if Wilder fights Ortiz, then that means Ortiz loses his WBA mandatory status. And then the winner of that fight could eventually fight the winner of Joshua's Pulev or Joshua's next fight. And then the Joshua unification with Wilder, or the winner of Wilder Ortiz, can happen a lot sooner than later. Otherwise, if Ortiz decides not to take the Wilder fight, Joshua will then fight Pulev, whoever's next in line in the IBF, or then he'll fight Ortiz after that. And then if Wilder is still undefeated, still champion, then the unification will take place in the summer of 2018 or fall of 2018. It's up to Ortiz. He can get a title shot now in November off a long layoff, or take a stay busy fight and wait for Joshua after he takes care of his IBF mandatory. That's simple. Learn the sanctioning body rules. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.